Make sure to check out the One Football app. It's your one-stop shop to all your latest football news, stats, lineups, team news, transfer rumours. Everything is covered on the One Football app. So make sure you click the link in the description below to download the One Football app.
Hey guys, welcome back to WD18, the Watford fans channel. It's Shane here, back for another preview as the Golden Boys head back to Vicarage Road for the second time in 4 days to take on Newcastle in a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. As always with these previews, before we get into the actual preview itself, let's have a bit of a recap in regards to our last game, which was only literally as I record this a couple of days ago, against Chelsea. Boxing Day, 7:30 kickoff, of course. The game ending in a 2-1 defeat to the Golden Boys. A game that I kind of look back on with kind of mixed feelings, really. I think on the one hand, we went toe-to-toe with Chelsea. We gave them a very, very good game at the Vic. No doubt about that, I don't think. Some individual brilliance from one man in particular, of course, Eden Hazard being the big difference maker for them. Ultimately, though, Chelsea, from my perspective, profiting from two big mistakes from us, most notably Abdullah Decore giving the ball away for their first goal, and Ben Foster as well for the second goal. But we kind of lost our way in the game a little bit. I think the penalty being awarded when it was very early on, I think about 58, 59 minutes or so, I think that killed the game off for us. The crowd became deflated as a result of that, and ultimately we got on to lose the game 2-1. Worth pointing out as well, stand-up performances from that game. Craig Cathcart I thought was immense at the back, as was Jose Holdovas. I thought Pereira had a decent game as well. It's a great finish from him as well. And ultimately we move on to the game on Saturday, looking for a much-needed win, I think, in this festive period. I think almost, if we kind of think about it, I think the away game, the away performance against West Ham was really, really quite significant, actually, because from my perspective, going into the Chelsea game, I thought we'd be good enough to get a draw. And the reason I say that is because I actually thought we put Chelsea under a little bit of pressure, I thought, in the start of that second half, and I thought we could maybe nick a result, but ultimately it didn't happen, and now we go into this weekend's game really with 3 points on our mind. At the Vic against Newcastle, we really should be getting that. Let's now head on and into that preview properly, and let's have a little bit of a chat about team news. Now, obviously, it being the Christmas period and everything, Javi Gracia, I believe, did actually have his press conference earlier on today. Of course, the big news from that coming off the back of the Boxing Day game was the absolutely horrific looking incident involving Christian Cabasele colliding with the post. Where I sit, I'm almost pretty much in line with the goal at the Rookery side, and I heard the contact of Cabasele and the post. It really did not. It was not the best noise / sight I've seen in ages, really. So, and it will come as no surprise as he's unavailable for the game on Saturday. He's actually still in hospital as well, as far as I'm aware. So, I'm sure the medical team, I'm sure they'll take their time with Christian. Ultimately, I'm sure as you've all seen, he's come out, he's tweeted about. I made a few quite funny references there as well to the post, but ultimately he won't be available for the game. It could face a lengthy spell out, actually, as there are rumours arising that he has a rib injury. So it remains to be seen how long he'll be out for, but he's absolutely out of the game on Saturday. In regards to other players, Andre Gray, I don't think will be back either. Nothing as of yet has been confirmed, but I don't think he looks likely to return. Neither does Will Hughes either. Although I think he's the more likely to be back into the squad again. And ultimately, the final person in this, of course, is Sebastian Prodl. And according to up-to-date team news, he may be fit for a place in the matchday squad. Again, nothing's actually been confirmed, but the only bit of confirmed team news for the Golden Boys is Christian Cabasele. Andre Gray doesn't look likely. Will Hughes and Sebastian Prodl may return. If we were just to do a very quick starting 11, I go Ben Foster in goal, of course. Back four for me: Kiko, Cathcart, Holebas at left back. The other centre back position, I would still probably keep Maps in there because the other alternatives don't fill me with any kind of hope. A return to fitness for Sebastian Prodl, and on top of that, you've also got Miguel Britos, who just, the less said about him, the better, really. So I think Maps will carry on in there. Midfield-wise, I thought Doucouré had a poor game against Chelsea. Really poor game. I dropped Doucouré, bring in a number of different options. For me, I would probably start Domingos Quina in the midfield. Wasn't used against West Ham, came on as a substitute. Thought he did well when he came on, and ultimately I would give him the start against Newcastle. Quina and Capoue in the midfield. I go 4-4-2 again. On the right hand side, I go for Gerard Deulofeu. Natural position for him. I think he just looks better out there. I didn't think he was a very good second striker, personally. On Boxing Day, I thought Troy was winning a lot in the air. Gerard wasn't making his run in behind, really. I think he just looked lively, but lively without that final punch, really. And ultimately, I think he looks better on the right hand side. So I'll go Deulofeu on the right, Pereira on the left, up top. Go back to basics. Isaac and Troy up top. They are the best that we're going to get anyway at the moment. We have a serious lack of goal scoring ability, a serious lack of clinical threat. Finishing, I thought, it just isn't there, really. And that's another thing that really frustrated me as well about the Chelsea game. Troy had a great chance, he just didn't take it. His all-round gameplay was better, I thought, than it was against West Ham, but he needs to be scoring goals. He's a striker. He just doesn't look like scoring, really. And I think the best way for Troy to maybe actually try and get himself on the score sheet is to have a decent strike partner, and I think Isaac's success is the closest thing we have to that. Let's go on to our opposition for Saturday afternoon, and that is, of course, Newcastle. Now, their form coming into the game, of course, first of all, I should just point out, I think it's massively unfair for them to have two away games over this festive period. Two very long trips as well for them. Of course, they're at Liverpool on Boxing Day, and they're of course coming down to us again. The fixture list just doesn't. There's just no care in the world, is there, for the fans nowadays? But ultimately, for Newcastle, it was a Boxing Day defeat at Anfield in a performance where Liverpool really did just turn it on in the second half. Aside from that, though, really uninspiring set of results really for Newcastle, and the fact that they got beaten on Boxing Day means they will be looking at this game as something they will aim to be trying to get 3 points from. Could they do it? I think they maybe could. I'm a big fan of Rafa Benitez. He's a shrewd operator. He will line up in a way to frustrate Watford, and ultimately we should never forget that they have already beaten us this season 1-0 at St James's Park, a disappointing afternoon for the Golden Boys. Not even registering a single shot on target, absolutely abysmal, and my heart goes out to all the fans who made the trip up there because it was just terrible, really. No shots on target, they win it 1-0, and it was their first home win of the season as well. It's the kind of game where Rafa will target 3 points. And if we're not on it, then, Newcastle, and we've seen this season as well, we're not really switched on. Teams can come and they'll take advantage as well, I look back at the Cardiff game. For the first 80 minutes, we were more than in control of the game. 80 minutes passed, Cardiff get 2 goals back into it, and you never know, on another day we could well have bottled that game. We can't afford for that to happen. Cardiff showed a lot of fight, we got lucky. Newcastle are a better side than Cardiff, and will ultimately punish us if that kind of similar kind of situation does occur. Only a couple of bits of team news, really. Kieran Clark and John Joe Shelby may well be returning. They're both going to be assessed with their fitness tests. The likes of Florian Lejeune and Carl Darlow are, however, still out for them. With that kind of team news, the first point I would make is John Joe Shelby is actually a decent player for them, and the fact that he's out is a big bit of news for us, because it ultimately means I think we'll be able to get a little bit more dominance inside that midfield. I look at the likes of maybe Capoue in there. I expect Capoue to have a good game. I expect the likes of Quina as well to be given a little bit more freedom as well. I can kind of understand to a certain extent as to why Javi's kind of rested him for the last couple of games as well. Especially I think for the Chelsea game up against two very physical sides in West Ham and Chelsea. I think he'll have a little bit more freedom up against Newcastle, and I think that's a good plan. I think really with. For Javi to go with, really. But as we know in this division, as I've said many times on here before, there is no such thing as an easy game in the Premier League. And